Why settle for just one X when you could have 2, 3, or even 4 of them? That's the philosophy behind the 4X genre of strategy games, with those 4 X's of course being explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. One of the earliest ancestors of the 4X game came in the form of 1980s Civilization. Not a video game, mind you, but a board game published by Avalon Hill, which saw players acquiring new skills via a tech tree in order to advance their empires. Jump ahead about a decade to a time when PC video games were continuing to pick up steam. One fine purveyor of such games was Microprose, who previously oversaw the release of hits like Railroad Tycoon and Sid Meier's Pirates. As it happened, Meier was developing a brand new idea alongside developer Bruce Shelley, formerly an employee at Avalon Hill. Together, they conceived of a game in which you could choose from one of the great empires of the world, then gradually expand them outward, building new cities, inventing new technologies, and making war or peace with your neighbors. While much influence was taken from PC titles like SimCity, the similarities to the Civilization board game couldn't be ignored, and so just as a precaution, they paid to be able to use that name for their new creation. Although Microprose was skeptical of the game at the time, it wound up being one of the most important titles in history, establishing grand strategy games as a viable genre, and paving the way for franchises like Age of Empires, and of course, its own sequels in the years that followed. Today, we get a detailed lesson in the history of society and culture as we explore Sid Meier's Civilization. It's a video game podcast.
Wow.
And there's so much to discuss. One of us knows all about them.
That's you.
And the other one's a dunce.
That's me.
You're gonna learn about the very best games with 2 annoying dorks.
Fatality.
From asteroids to Zelda, from adventure to Zork. We have no life, and we feel no shame. We need your help, 'cause we're bad with games. Bad with games. Welcome to the show. My name is Jonathan.
My name is Will.
And we are bad with games.
Hooray. Yeah. This is we're back. We're back with
We're always
is this
back.
the first of this genre we're doing? I don't know. I know we've gotten this
technically.
requested. Technically.
Yes. Technically, this is, some might say in some ways, this is the first of its genre, period.
Sure.
It certainly takes place over multiple different periods. What we're referring to, of course, is Sid Meier's Civilization, which was released for computers in 1991, various computer platforms. There were a fair few ports. Super NES had a version and so on, but we played the original MS-DOS version of the game. And we've previously played Sid Meier's Pirates.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
This is our second Sid Meier joint. Our second Microprose joint. Yeah. But it is our first real 4X game. It is our first. I mean, we've played. I don't know. How do you define a strategy game? All the RPGs we've played have had some element of strategies. Sid Meier's Pirates had sort of strategy elements, but was it's also kind of a sim thing. It's certainly one of the few times we've delved into this genre as presented in this particular fashion.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting that you bring up the phrase strategy game because if you had asked me if I knew what a strategy game was, I would have said yes. But I'm not 100% sure how I would define it. And as you point out, you know, kind of just about every game there is involves some kind of strategy. Kind of an odd name for a genre.
Yeah. I want to comment on that, but before I do, I want to remind folks that if you're listening to this, thanks for listening. We appreciate your listenership. If you want, you can also view us on YouTube. We're at Bad with Games, where you can watch us playing this week's game footage as we discuss, as we have our little convo, so you can get an idea of what things look like. And we also have a second YouTube channel at Worse with Games with bonus videos and things like that over there. We've also got a Patreon, patreon.com/badwithgames, where you can join our Discord or get bonus episodes. Now, strategy games. The thing is, I'm a little, I'm a board game player, as are
Hmm.
you.
Sure, yes.
And so I feel like this comes up a lot in board games more than video games, to the point where when I hear someone call a video game a strategy game, I feel like it almost just means it's kind of board game like. It
Hmm.
probably means, in video game context, strategy game usually means it's turn based. It's turn based because otherwise they'd say real time strategy.
Ah, yes, I have seen that acronym before.
So it's turn based, and you probably have a big map, and you probably have multiple units that you're controlling and you're fighting. That's like 90% of the time what you're looking at with a strategy game. In board games, it's even less well defined, because I feel like it kind of just means uh a lot of times I feel like it just means this is a heavier kind of a game.
Hmm.
Oh, it's a strategy. But like you said, literally
Yeah.
every game is a strategy game.
Yeah, and I mean, if you take that definition you gave and put it on board games, it's even worse because at least in a video game, you could be like, well, like in a fighting game, you might use a strategy, but it's not what you described. Whereas in a board game, it's like, okay, so there are like squares on the board, and you have pieces, and you take turns. It's basically what you said.
Yeah, sums it all up, doesn't it? So I think it's probably safest to just refer to this as a 4X game.
Sure.
I would say even, it's kind of a simulation strategy game. There's another term that also was sort of coming into fashion around this time that people might use, which is a god game, which is in
Mm,
reference to a game where you are not just one person or a party of people, but you sort of have control over a large swath of land and things. Sim
like the
City, you might
Elemist.
say, is
Yeah.
yes, like the Elemist, are the one true god on this podcast.
Okay, yeah, I have not heard the term god game before, but I do get what is meant by that. Um and the 4X thing, I think we've gone over this on the podcast before. Don't even remember if I did or did not know that term. I mean, I certainly had I don't think I knew what that term meant before this podcast or referred to. I don't quite remember if I had like heard of it before this
Mm.
podcast or not anymore. But that's certainly come up. Like I think everything I know about that term comes from saying I don't know what that means on air in response to like an email or something.
I know it very much from board games. I feel like it's much more heavily used in board games, because a lot of the biggest games like Twilight Imperium fall under that umbrella. Whereas if you're a video gamer and you know what 4X is, you're probably a very specific kind of gamer.
Mm,
Like they're at least nowadays, just require more. They're usually more challenging. They require more effort and time and thinking. But in the 90s, I think if you were playing video games on your computer, that means you owned a computer and you probably understood how it worked to some extent. So this type of thing was very much appealing to probably the majority of computer owners. Whereas now most people are like, huh? I don't know about. I always forget exploit. That's the one I always forget. But there's also explore, expand, and exterminate. It's pretty good, honestly. I mean, it doesn't feel too forced. The 4X, like the X's, I think do apply. It doesn't feel like any of them is. Oh, you really had to stretch to make that work. I think they did a good job with that name.
mm.
Don't you agree?
uh I mean, sure, I guess so.
Oh my
I
god.
don't know.
Trying so hard, trying to make something happen over here, and I'm just getting nothing in return. All right. Well, let's use that to segue into the lore this week, our personal lore. You know, SimCity and Pirates, I would say, are our bridges to this game. So you could talk a little bit about those, or maybe just in general. Civilization is a big enough franchise on its own. What was your awareness of this going in?
I mean, certainly more awareness than I had for pirates. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Civilization is a game that I had heard of, a game series I had heard of. I knew that there were still new or at least new-ish civs coming out. I know the term, like I know that whatever you, what do you call that? If I just shorten it down to call it civ instead of civilization, I know that
Mhm.
what that refers to. I think we went over this on Pirates, but I didn't know who Sid Meier was. I didn't know that name. So I hadn't ever actually played any of these. I may have seen I may have seen gameplay from a Civilization game, but I'm honestly not positive. But still, I had some decent idea of the sort of thing that I would be getting into. Starting this, you would probably be playing as some kind of probably like some real world empire that maybe existed at some point. You might have like a semi-randomized map. You don't quite know what it is, and as you expand and explore, you'd get to see more of what was around you. You might encounter other civilizations and have to fight them, or maybe you don't have to fight them and you do diplomacy. You're trying to like increase your tech tree. That general idea was something that I was aware of. So the basic idea of what I'm trying to do, at least, it was not foreign to me, which is good because I do think that it's the basic idea of what you're trying to do in these games is pretty abstract. um so
Mhm.
which we could talk about. So that's good that that at least wasn't an issue, but outside of that, not like a huge amount of familiarity with this game. Definitely see the like crossover between something like Pirates and SimCity, where SimCity is closer to what you were describing earlier with a god game, as you said. Since
Mhm.
you have like total control over all of these different things. Like technically maybe you're the mayor, I guess, but I don't know. Does that really make sense? Whereas with the pirate, you like have a lifespan and you like retire. Yeah, so like you
Yeah,
are a
yeah.
guy in those games.
Yeah, I remember because I wasn't familiar with Pirates, and when we played, I thought that that would be more like a Civ type game, and
Hmm.
it surprised me when we found out. No, there's elements, but it's not really the
Yeah,
same thing. Another predecessor to this that we didn't play is Railroad Tycoon,
mm,
which I don't know. Maybe there's people out there who maybe would say we should have, but I don't think anyone actually cares. But by our own, the way we often try to build our way up, maybe we missed that missing link. But I think you can glean enough from SimCity to pretty much see, because that was one of the big influences. Like Sid Meier has said, that was one of the biggest influences on the creation of this game. So
for sure.
we've kind of seen that happen.
And I mean, like to be honest, in terms of just following the creation, in many ways, it does seem to me to have more to do with Pirates than it does with SimCity. To be perfectly honest with you, like there is such a fascination with like the nitty gritty of um like, oh, here's some historical stuff and let's make sure that's in the game, even if it maybe really doesn't need to be or isn't that important. um it's a lot less like, set up this grid perfectly and manage all of these values, and while there are elements of that, there's also plenty of just like, just mess around and explore and try to get over here, and oops, you're in a lot of trouble and you could die here. In like, there's more in common with pirates, I think. I think like if I'm trying to look at the way that this game was built up from scratch, I feel like I've got my stepping stones. So
Yeah, yeah. I feel like my maybe it has more in common with pirates in many ways, but for my personal play experience, I will say I won't get into it right now, but I
mhm,
feel like the way that I felt playing it and my experience with it was very similar to SimCity in many ways.
mhm.
But yeah, we'll talk about it. And I mean, I feel like you've also, in terms of your lore, have probably played enough tabletop board games to like have come across a game like this at some point, right?
Probably. I mean, like, cause like the most obvious what do you call it, analog to this, it would be like what, Settlers of Catan, and I've barely played that, right?
I wasn't gonna. Yeah, I guess that's probably the most like mainstream, but even that is a little. I don't like that. I don't think that's a 4X game. There's no
No.
exterminating in it,
No,
right?
there's not. There's not. But in
There
terms
is
of
the other
like,
three. It's a 3X
yeah,
game.
in terms of being like, okay, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna like slowly push out, because like you say, I'm a board gamer, and like I have played a
I
smattering of
say it
board games with
because
you, and
you play a lot of Gloomhaven. That's why
yeah,
I
I
say
play
it.
a lot of Gloomhaven, and I've played, some games while visiting you, enough to get like a decent palette for like what's around, but I would not consider myself a board gamer, personally, even though technically,
Sure.
yeah.
I also do not tend towards this style of game in board gaming uh, as much.
Hmm.
So it's not um, for the times we had played games together. I might not be the person who would be showing you again Twilight Imperium or Eclipse off the top of my head. I guess we played I guess War
Right.
of the Ring.
Okay, okay.
It's a little sort of is like
Yeah, well, I
similar.
guess the problem with that is that there's two sides to that.
Right.
Right, it's not like we're just kind of trying to, and you have clearly defined goals, right? It's not like I'm just on this map and I'm trying to expand out and build as best as I can and manage my relationships with It's kind of like, oh, okay, you're trying to it's the Lord of the Rings game. So like, okay, you're trying to destroy the One Ring and I'm trying to conquer the world. And technically there are other goals you could have, but they're not particularly feasible. So like it felt
Yeah.
very different, although I do see where that would come into play. I will say
Yeah.
I think I've only played Catan like twice, maybe three times, and as I recall, every time I ruined it for everybody else.
Do I dare ask how?
Well, so I do recall
Let me
the
guess. Let
first.
me guess.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
refuse to trade with anyone.
No, no. So
Okay.
the first time I played, basically everybody knew exactly what they were doing except me. And so I started off just kind of fucking around, almost immediately got locked into a position where I couldn't like do anything. Right? Because everybody else kind of like was taking over the board and blocking off whatever. And so then I started getting to a point where I was like, does anybody want to trade with me for stuff so I can do things? And everyone was like, you can't offer me a trade that I want. That's like beneficial. And I was like, okay. And so finally we got to like near the end of the game and I was like, tell you what, I will trade literally everything I have to anybody who will let me take one game action. And everyone was like, okay, here's the problem with that though, is that if you do that, you will actually king make that person. And I was like, I don't care. I spent all game unable to do anything. I would like to build one road, and I will give him 15 times the value of that if I can make one road. And everybody got mad, and the guy traded it all away 2-1. And I was like, maybe you should have spent the game trading with me. Nobody traded with me all game, so now the first person who trades with me gets to win. Fuck yourselves. And then the second time I played Catan was like 2 years later, and the same damn thing happened because I didn't remember how to play because I hadn't played in 2 years. So literally, like, I immediately got locked off, spent all game being like, anybody want to trade? And everyone was like, no, until the end, and then I did it again. So I do recall that happening.
Wow. Was it the same group of players?
I have no idea. This would have been like
Well,
college age.
I mean, hot board game take for you.
Mhm.
But, like as a guy who previously ran a board game channel and has played hundreds of board games, most people in the board game hobby seriously don't really think Catan is a good game.
That's
Like
fair enough.
it was very important and
Mhm.
revolutionary for the time, and it's better than a lot of games, and it's a great game if you're just getting started and you don't know about
Mhm.
deeper board games. But uh, there are many games that came after that improved on it, and I think in large part that trading thing is a flaw of the game and not your fault.
Yeah, I mean, well, the problem with it really was the skill discrepancy. Like, if
Hmm.
if everybody had gone in there on equal footing, we all would have been floundering about. And when I was all like, "Help, I need trades," someone else would have said, "Help, I need trades." But instead, I was like, "Help, I need trades," and everyone was like, "Can you offer me anything good?" And I was like, "No, I don't have anything. That's why I need trades." And they were like, "All right, fuck off then." Right? Like that was really the problem. Is that like everybody there had played, it was like, yeah, I play every week for the last 5 years. And I was like, this is my first time. Like that was really the issue with it, in that particular scenario. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess not to get off on a Catan gent, but
Hell yes.
but yes, the impression that I generally get from more serious board gamers is that it's kind of like
The
baby's first
impression that
real
I
game.
get.
So
100%. 100%. I once was that person. I was like the opposite of that in a game of Monopoly once,
well,
which is a
that's their
bad
fault for
game.
playing Monopoly, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember. I can't even remember the rules anymore, but it was something like people kept wanting to trade with me. Can you trade? And I don't even remember now. This is the problem because I don't I don't play that game.
Nobody
But
plays by the real rules of Monopoly because they suck.
well, that
So
was the whole
probably people
thing.
trade.
we
Whether or not you're
played
allowed
by
to, I
the
don't know.
we played by the real rules. It was this
Mm,
one time because we were like, oh, the real reason people think Monopoly is bad is because they
mm.
like house rule it, and no one understands we're actually going to do it the right way. And guess what? It still sucked. And I like there was something where it was like, oh, people wanted to buy something from me or trade things, and I was like, it was never beneficial to me. So I like stonewalled the game because I was like, well, why should I? There's no good offer from you. I'm not gonna like force myself to push things along at a disadvantage. Anyway, listen, for people who like the board games, they probably like Civ, so they might find this interesting. I'll tell you my Civilization history. The only Civ game I played before this week was Civ 5, which I feel like, generally speaking, 4 was for a long time considered the gold standard of the series. And then I think once 5 came out with certain expansions, there's maybe some 4 purists out there, but 5 is probably the most recent one that people kind of consider as, again, the new gold standard of Civ games. Whereas 6 and 7 both come out since then, and I feel like people kind of like them, kind of don't, but a lot of those hardcore fans, I think, just go back to 4 and 5, depending on which they like. 5 is the one that I know, and unfortunately, my only my only real experience with Civ 5, I probably have played it for dozens of hours.
Hmm.
The problem is a single game of Civ 5 can take like 8 hours. So that doesn't really mean much. But I have a friend who is very good at strategy board games and video games, and he
Hmm.
loves Civ, of course. And so I would get roped into these Civ games every now and then. I don't even remember. I probably bought it because of him on Steam at some point. And I would do multiplayer Civilization with him and one or two other friends. And it would pretty much always go the same way, which is sooner or later, he would find me on the map, and he would have nuclear missiles, and I'd be like, I just figured out the wheel. and I would just get completely demolished. And I would be demoralized, and it would take fucking forever to play. And I'd be like, oh my, like clearly I know what I need to do. Because the only time I play this game is multiplayer with this guy who's an expert at it. I
Yeah.
need to like play on my own and actually learn the ins and outs. And I just would never be motivated to actually do that until the next time I played again. And then I felt stupid because I sucked at it. And it would just be a cycle like that. So
Yeah.
I have like a lot of familiarity with the general systems and kind of the general through line of the game and how things progress as you play, because honestly, not the core of it is still pretty similar even to this very first one. But I never really had a positive or good learning experience with a Civ game. And I'm not good at these. Just generally, I am, even with board games as well, 4X games, that kind of thing. I don't know, they're hard, and I'm stupid. And I am a person who really needs to, in general, I think with board games at least, I'm usually the person who needs to play a game a few times before I really lock into it. Whereas I feel like there are some people who are really they're just so good at general strategizing that they're able to contextualize and internalize the rules very quickly and be good right out the gate. And I'm like, I need a game to kind of mess around. And then game 2, I kind of try something else. And then game 3, I'm like, oh, okay, I see what we're doing here now, maybe. I don't pick up on these things quickly, so you know, it's a little. I was preparing for an uphill battle going into Civ this week. I'll say that. All right, this is all well and good, but we do need to break down the box art this week.
Right, of course. We're a very well-tuned and highly polished podcast, right? And we know what we like, we know what we do, and that's
Mhm.
break down the box art.
That's right. Box art
It's
breakdown time.
super important.
Let's take a look at the box art here for Sid Meier's Civilization, which has that logo at the top, including the man's name, of course.
Mm-hmm.
The tagline underneath says, "Build an empire to stand the test of time."
Sure.
Snappy, catchy tagline.
That's there,
And
I guess.
I guess what we're seeing is, I'm trying to figure out, can you tell, is this an illustration or is that a physical diorama someone made and photographed? I'm not sure.
That is difficult to tell, actually. I just assumed it was an illustration, but it is
So did
possible
I.
that this
But
is
now
some
that I'm
kind of
looking at
cutout.
it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, it's sort of a beige cutout of a city with skyscrapers, and then underneath them, as if it's buried underground, is like a mummy's, like a pharaoh's sarcophagus. Right?
Yeah.
Is that the
Yeah.
sarcophagus? Yeah.
I think that's probably, or I mean, it's gigantic. So either they had a pharaoh who was 200 feet tall, or this is some kind of statue. But
I'd say it's an
it's
abstraction. You know?
he's lying on his back here, so presumably I mean, it looks kind of like a sarcophagus. Just
Yeah. You like this box art?
I
Break it.
mean, it's fine. It's fine. I like the civilization text. I like the general idea of the like modern looking skyline over top, built over top of the ruins of an ancient civilization. Um the I don't know what would you whatever this material is. I don't know if I want to call it beige, but I guess it's beige.
It's
Um
beige as hell, my dude.
but yeah, the this whole thing, it's got that kind of like ancient Egypt look. I don't know. The skyscrapers feel kind of bland because they're the same as the ancient thing, but yeah, I don't know. I do like that, whether or not this is a real cutout. Like some of these shadows look pretty real. Like this one tree in the front here of this one building, it's got the shadows behind it really do make it look like it is an actual cutout. Um, on the whole, though, I don't know, it's fairly muted. I don't know if it would grab my eye from afar.
It's very bland. I think they
Yeah.
really needed like at least two colors on this. You didn't have to go all out. Like it could still be muted, and it could still be, oh, the buildings are more gray and green, and then
Mhm.
you kind of down it's more like brown and tan or something. But
'Cause
just you almost can't even. It's hard for me to even make out what I'm looking at on
yeah,
this box art. It's just nothing.
'cause it's like it's odd, isn't it, that the ancient Egyptian stuff is like the exact same color palette and material and everything as the modern stuff, right? Like I don't know if that's l- I don't know if the
That
idea quite comes together, right? Because like it doesn't feel like a progression, right? Like I'm not getting this sense of this modern thing built over top of this ancient thing. I'm getting the sense that this is just all kind of samey, right? Like I don't see like a gradient as it goes up.
it makes me think that maybe it is really a physical thing, because if it was digital, why wouldn't they paint it?
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, no,
Yeah.
we really did. We built this thing, and that's what it looks like.
Well, in the real world, there's also this thing we have called a paint that you can use. It just doesn't have to be digital.
That's interesting. I haven't heard about that. I'm trying to look right now to see if I can find online.
Hmm.
Uh, this person says the illustration looks to be a paper construction. It seems the image was created for a Ramses the Great exhibit at the Mint Museum in Charlotte,
Oh,
says this
damn.
person in 2020 on the Ask Metafilter website.
Do I trust that? You know what? I'm going to
Sally
trust that.
Vitsky,
I think that
perhaps.
sounds trustworthy to me.
Um, so it sounds like they found this somewhere else. Like this wasn't even made for this box art specifically.
I guess not.
Fascinating.
So was did they like license out the rights or something, or did they go to this exhibit and snap a picture and they were like, "Hey, it's the Wild West. Nobody can sue me."
I believe they licensed out the rights, but from what I'm reading, it sounds like the actual artist might not have even been aware of this.
I mean,
That they
that's a lot more sure, right? That's normal company bullshittery.
Yeah, like they just made a deal with the museum that bought the rights to the thing. Yeah, and I do believe it is a real physical object. Yeah, it definitely
Okay.
looks like a
Okay.
real, seeing a picture of it here that looks a much more high definition picture that makes it clear that
Hmm.
it's physical.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe I wonder if it's still there. Can we go visit it?
Oh shit. That would be a good Patreon episode.
Would it?
Maybe.
Anyway, so I like the concept here, but it just doesn't. Unfortunately, I don't think it would be much cooler in real life, but maybe it's just because of the low definition. Also, the tagline underneath sucks. Build an empire to stand the test of time. And what I really don't like is that they capitalized every letter,
Mm.
including the
Yes,
little
that's
letters, the little
annoying.
words that you shouldn't.
That is
Get out of
annoying.
here. Stop it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I mean, I can see how that could be kind of clunky. To me, it just is so not even there. It's just boring.
Yeah.
I just don't care about it. But yes, that pointing out "n" to the of none of those words should be capitalized. It's
Nope.
bad.
Style guide, people. All right. All right. Now let's finally get to talking about Sid Meier's Civilization.
I think we're about done, aren't we?
Mostly. We just got to wrap up a few little loose ends. So people understand our lore with the game. I'm really curious this week to hear what your experience was with this one, because I'll be honest. I'm like I already kind of admitted it. I'm not. I don't consider myself very good at these games. This is an earlier version of it. There is a manual that was included with the game, which is 120 pages long.
All right, so I'm going to tell you right now because I have a feeling you didn't. I read this whole manual. It was not particularly helpful.
I did read the whole manual. There were definitely sections that I skimmed when I sort of thought like, this seems like I don't need to like memorize this and it'll more come up as I play,
Hmm.
kind of thing. I did read it, but I think that if I were to go back and read it now, again, I think I would probably find it a lot more helpful having played the game more. Whereas the first time, I think a lot of it kind of washed over me, and I was like, this is so much information.
Yeah. That's possible because most of what I was getting from it is like, I don't necessarily need the nitty-gritty here. What I need is the general, like, how do I play? What am I doing? And what I found was that, like, it's not giving you, okay, so let's say that I want to be a democracy instead of a monarchy or whatever. It says, okay, well, that's going to give you like these bonuses and these downsides. And I can kind of look at it and say, like, I could have guessed that that was basically what was happening, right? Like, I could have guessed just because I know how, the history of civilization works and how Sid Meier views that. Like I will say there are some things in there that are like you can tell he's coming at it from a certain point of view. Like when you go to democracy, there's no more corruption. Oh, is there not? That's interesting. But so there's things like that going on in there. But like it's not that hard to just guess at what the general idea is. And I don't know that it's giving you. Maybe it does give you more specific numbers, but like that's too much to absorb before playing the game. And so really what I needed when playing the game was more just like, okay, you told me that if I have this and this, then that's good, and this, then that's bad, and that's obvious. What the fuck am I looking at? How do I know what I have and what I don't have? What is happening here? What are these controls? And it had almost none of that. If it was in there, it was like very briefly skipped over and not very well laid out or diagrammed. And I did find myself once again being like, man, these old manuals where they just write them like a book, can you not just like give me 5 pages on like how to play the game as if it were a game? And then I'll figure out the context, right? You don't have to write me a damn book.
It's always the computer games.
It
It's
is.
these fucking nerds that just love. You should have written a book. If you want to make a video
Yeah.
game, make a video game. If you wanted to write a book, and shut the fuck up.
Especially something like this where it's like you're not even like this isn't even like, oh, but this is the history of Lord British or whatever. So like I can see your fantasy world's history. Like you're talking about the way that you understand systems in the real world and history to work. I could read an encyclopedia and understand everything that is in here. You don't need to tell me any of this, right? I'm going to tell you the reason you didn't write an encyclopedia is because you're not like well researched and studied enough to do it. That's why you made a damn game. And like that's fun and all, but like I don't need your fucking 100 pages here.
I think Sid Meier himself, there was a quote where he said that most of the research they did in terms of what was drawn from real life was like not as sophisticated as what you would find in a children's encyclopedia.
Yeah.
That they very much prioritized gameplay over accuracy and educational qualities. Even though you might think as you play it, it sort of has those trappings.
Mm.
But I think this manual almost has the same problem that I think SimCity did, which was in reading it, it feels like, oh my God, there's so many little nitty gritty details, and this becomes that, and which government do you choose, and the types of cities and trade and all these things. But then I find that in practice, when you're actually playing it, a lot of that stuff, I mean, maybe this is not true. Maybe this is just why I'm bad at the game. But it kind of feels like a lot of that stuff you don't really need to understand fully. Or it's not even like what you need to understand about it is not what's written here. It's not here's why this government works better than this. It's just like, well, I just need to know when I hit this number, should I swap governments to hit the next number?
Yeah, no, it's very much like like you don't need to know all of these technical things. You just need to know like, oh, fuck, there's a revolt in one of my cities. What do I do about that? Right? And so you need to know things like, oh, well, I've got when I'm a despot, right? Then like I have like all of these advantages to housing military, but if I'm a democracy, right, there's all these problems when I have soldiers away from home. So, if I'm in a democracy, then maybe what I need to do is disband excess soldiers that aren't in their home city or return them home or something like that. And people will calm down. Whereas, like I said, if I'm a despot, maybe I will send soldiers into the city to get order or something, and things like that. Um, like that difference in how you're gonna try to play it. Um, that kind of matters, but I don't know that it doesn't really just kind of come through and give you the basics on how to do this sort of thing. It it's written for somebody who already knows how to play the game relatively well and wants to be able to win on the hardest difficulty, and so they need all the
Yeah,
technical specs, but it's not a list of technical specs, right? Which is what you would actually want. It's like written to be accessible to somebody who's just like, "Oh, what's this game all about?"
right.
It kind of doesn't do either. And like, you know, fucking if there's any goddamn Ultima heads on this, they're probably coming in here and complaining we're talking about the manual. But here's the thing: you come into this game and it's this big, expansive game with where
Yeah.
you're managing all these little details. It's probably very hard to understand. There's a 100-page book full of information. It's really hard to just say, well, fuck that, I'm not going to read it. It's probably fine, even though I think it would have been. Because you are just like, well, am I not just going to get immediately shut down when I try to
Right.
play? And
Right.
to be fair, there is a bullshit baby mode for this game, which is what I played on, which is probably for the best. Um, which,
Mhm.
if I were on normal mode, then I
Well, the
think it
game,
might have been a problem.
yeah, the book even says at a point they actually, I mean, to their credit, they do say like you don't necessarily need to read this book. they s-
They do say
uh,
that, yeah.
the quote is, "We recommend you at least read through chapter 1 introduction, blah blah blah, and some few other sections. But even this is not necessary." They do encourage players to jump right in, and yes, there is the lowest difficulty mode is called Chieftain, and if you play on that mode, then they give you lots of little pop-ups that say, "Hey, this is a good place to build a city," or "Hey, here's what we think you should build next," that kind of thing.
hmm
So it's certainly possible to play without reading this whole book.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the problem is I just didn't trust it. I was like, "Are you
Right.
sure that I don't need?" You
Neither
wrote
did I.
100 pages of shit, and I don't actually need to read it. Are you sure about that? But
Let's backtrack a little bit for people who don't know, or if you're not watching the video. The gist of Civilization is you choose an empire: French, Egyptian, Roman, German. There's a bunch of different choices, and you start with just one little settler, and you go build a city. And then from that city, you can then build different types of buildings. You expand, you move, you build more buildings that can build more things. As you do this, science is researching new technologies for you. You'll eventually run into other civilizations that may want to fight you. You can either fight them or make peace with them, etc. And it is turn based, but sort of a turn comprises like all of your units. So each individual unit can be moved in certain ways depending on where you want to put them, and then you can also interact with your individual cities to let them choose what they should be working on, that kind of thing, before you say okay, end turn, and then more stuff happens and the game continues. There's a few ways the game can end, but generally, you start at, I don't remember when you start, 10,000 BC, some BC.
I think it's more like 5,000. But yeah,
Yeah, you're probably right. You're not cavemen or
like
something.
10,000's pretty long time ago.
But you it generally go up to the year 2100. You can keep playing after that, but that's when they'll say, like, okay, that's kind of the limit of what we programmed here for a lot of this stuff. If one civilization reaches space, that's considered the end of the game. If you conquer the whole world by defeating every other civilization, the game ends. Or if you get conquered and are destroyed, the game ends. And then they give you a score at the end, depending on everything that you did. So I like you. I also jumped into the chieftain mode, which I think is not even like, I guess it's baby mode, but to me it feels more like tutorial mode. It's like you just should play this first if you haven't played this
Mm.
before, as opposed to like,
Yeah.
an action game where it's like, well, if you've played action games before, you're probably okay.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know how much. I assume it gets a lot harder to play on the harder difficulties. But to be honest, the main thing that the tips helped me with was, um, like, I don't know that the tips ever told me to do something that I looked at and said, like, oh, I didn't realize I should be doing that. And in fact, sometimes I just ignored what they were saying, and I was like, yeah, maybe that's a mistake, but I'm not going to do it anyway. Um,
Yeah,
eh,
they're
w- w-
guidelines.
yeah, what I found the tips to be most useful for was that it and again, this is what really upsets me is that I read the whole manual. I read the whole damn manual and I come into the game and immediately I'm just like I have no idea how to control this. Like how do I what is a turn? I should know what a turn is. I read 100 goddamn pages. Why do I not know what that is? What are all the things that I can do? Where do I do this? Right? Oh, they're talking about you can change the like tax rates. How? Where? And I did find it, but like so many things that I could do were just like not in intuitive areas. So the main thing that the tips were actually helpful for is they'd pop up and say, you could do this now. And I'm like, oh, I can? If I'd known I could, I obviously would. I just didn't know. Um,
I wonder how much of this is, to me, the controls didn't feel too unintuitive, but maybe that's because I wasn't, um, like thinking about it. It's like maybe
yeah. I mean,
it sounds like maybe you were like trying to do specific things and worrying about the larger picture, whereas I was a little bit more just kind of like, "Oh, I'll
mm.
click here, I'll click there, let's see what happens next," you know?
Yeah, like it was yeah, I guess that is the thing. It's because it's not even so much the controls so much as the menus. Like there's sections where you can like take people away to make them be specialists, and I did not understand like or
I
put them back to work the land, and I did a lot of manipulating that, but
Yeah.
I did not know how to do it for the longest time. There were a lot of symbols on the screens when I clicked the cities where I was like, don't know what this is. There's a whole menu to tell you how happy the people are, and I never figured out how to read that. I just had to go to like the attitude advisor to figure out how happy people were. It took me a long time to figure out what the military units were, if I wanted to like move, like station them in their home cities, or if I wanted to disband them or whatever. Because they're like all over the place. If I wanted to fortify versus take them out, like a lot of things like this, it took a long time for it to be clear to me what was happening and like how that mattered in ways that I just felt like I read too much bullshit to not know what I'm doing here. Like this should
I
have been
won't
the
lie.
first like 3 pages of the damn thing.
Most of what you're describing, I never understood.
Hmm.
I never locked into these systems. I read about, oh yeah, you can like make the citizens entertainers or things like that.
Yeah, I
I
couldn't
never
figure out
really
how to
figured that
choose
out.
what their specialties were. I could only figure out how to take them like off the land and make them specialize.
Yeah. I don't even know if I did that. I
Which
think people who are good at these games might hate this episode. Or hate,
or
certainly they're going to hate watching me play it, I think. I
They're
think
not
they're
gonna
going to hate
love
it.
me either because I definitely did a lot of fumbling around. So I'll say this: I'm curious how it started you because I'm assuming this was because I'm on bullshit baby easy mode. Is that it did start me
Chieftain
on an
mode.
island alone, so I did not like really ever have to fight any other civilizations like at all, like
I
ever.
think that that is completely random
Okay,
because I played a chieftain game and I was very much interacting with other civilizations that were near me, and then I played the next level up, whatever it's called, and I was on an island. So
okay,
I just think the game just decides a place where you
okay.
go. I can't remember. I think it maybe a little bit depends on which civilization you pick, but it's not like really true to geography in real
Right.
life,
Right,
so
right,
I'm
right.
not
Yeah.
sure.
No, it's definitely not true to G. I was wondering because there's like an Earth mode where you play on Earth, and then there's like
Yeah.
a customized world mode, and I was a little confused because I thought that I was gonna click new game, and then I was gonna get to pick whether I wanted to be on a random world or the Earth, but I those were separate options from new game, so I didn't really know what was happening there. But I did pretty quickly. So I picked what the Sumerians or Babylonians, whatever. I was Hammurabi.
Yeah, the Babylonians.
And yeah, and so I one of the first things I did was look around and I was like, okay, this is not where I would be on an Earth map. So
Yeah.
clearly I'm on a random thing. Uh but yeah, so okay, so here's a question because this is why people are going to hate me playing this too. Uh how the hell do you leave if you're on an island? I could send boats out and I could like sack cities that were on the shore with my boats. But I could not figure out how to like take those cities and like expand my empire beyond my island. I basically just got stuck on my tiny island and worked up my cities there and like made an alliance with a couple people who came to me and sometimes just went around blowing up cities for fun, like other people's cities for fun with my advanced technology. But like I couldn't figure like how do I settle outside of my island? I could
So
not figure this out.
there's this thing called moon gates. No, I believe I think it must depend on which technologies you research.
Hmm.
I did not do much of this either, but I believe I assume there's a thing that I was able to make at some point that was called a transport that was a ship. So I think you need to
Mm,
get certain types of ships that will let you go to another place and actually build a
okay.
city there, whereas some won't.
Because I had like three different kinds of ships, but maybe they were just all warships. I don't know.
That's probably right. I mean, like I said, in my first game, I had a bunch of other people, so I did not need to really sail anywhere.
Hmm.
And then the second game, I was on an island, but I was just sort of like, yeah, you know what? I kind of like this better. Everybody leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, I will say I'm glad that I was in that position because it did take me a while to just figure out things like okay, wait a second, all of my people are starving. Oh, right, I guess I need to irrigate. Like, because I wasn't sure, like, if I like, how wide of an area does irrigation help with here? Before I was able to like look at the map and realize, oh, I see where my people are, so I see where it matters that I'm doing that. Oh, how do I like mess around with tax rates? Oh, wait, if I put in a temple, people won't be so pissed at me. So like, everything was kind of weird and falling apart, and I wasn't sure what to do. So it, I'm glad that I got left alone for quite some time.
Yeah, some of the things you're saying are things I figured out. Some of them are like I went through a whole game not remembering you could mine or irrigate. And I was like,
Ooh.
and I still sort of don't
I,
know what those are for.
I'm the irrigation. I know what the irrigation is for. To be honest, I set up some mines, but I'm not entirely sure exact. I presume they somehow help me with my like trade income or something, but I don't really or like possibly they help me build faster. But I don't understand the mines. I never figured that out. But the irrigation does just mean that you're getting more food production off of your nearby land,
Okay.
like farmland,
Okay.
grassland. So if your like food stores are depleting and everyone's like famine, maybe you should
Yeah.
irrigate more.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Did you use the mouse to play? You can do a combo or you can do
Hmm.
just keyboard. I did use the mouse and keyboard, but I kind of liked that you can play a lot of this game just with the number pad. In fact, I found that you need the number pad. Like, I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
missing something here, but I didn't know how to move diagonally for a long time. Because if you're just using the regular arrow
yeah,
keys, you can't like press up and left to go diagonal. I had to use my number pad corner keys to do that,
yeah.
which was a game changer.
Oh yeah, no,
Uh,
I was using number pad and mouse for to play it. Yeah.
yeah. Which was fine. Again, this was I don't again. I guess again for the show. This was a
Yeah.
time when the mouse was sort of new. So at the beginning, you actually choose
Hmm.
whether or not you're going to have a mouse or you don't. In addition to how many colors you want to play with
Yeah.
and what sound chip you have, which is kind of funny. I mean, let's look big picture here.
Hmm.
What was your? How did you overall? It sounds like you just played the
Yeah.
one civilization.
Yeah, I just played the one civilization, which was honestly fine. I will say that generally speaking, I did enjoy messing around with it. Like I didn't, I did. It made enough sense to me once I figured out how to do things, like what the things that I was doing were. Right? Like I did understand like okay, I can move troops from here to here. Okay, I can put up a wall here. Okay, let's build libraries. Okay, let's do this. Let's research this sort of thing. Okay, I want to change over my government because I'm acting more like this. I want to make some boats to sail out. Okay, let's get some diplomats. Like everything that I was doing was making sense to me. And so, it was kind of fun running a civilization like that. Um, I did certainly enjoy it. I do, like I said, I do think that it would have been really bad if I were facing real existential threats. I just wasn't. Like, right. Like, and also because it was on easy mode, and maybe because I was on my island, I did find that for the majority of the game, I was just like ranked number one in the civilizations. But then as we got later and later, other people who were actually expanding outwards started being better than me. And I was like, oh, I wish I could do anything about that. But
So did you feel like you quote unquote won at the end where you're like, oh, I did look at that. Like what do you remember what your final ranking was or anything like that?
I'm not really.
They
But
tell you like which great leader you're equivalent to.
oh, yeah, I don't know.
Did you like quote
So
unquote finish the game or
I
did you
did not.
just stop?
Yeah, I
Oh,
did
okay.
eventually just stop. I did not actually
So
get
you
to
don't get a
Alpha
score
Centauri
then.
or whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, well, you can see what your score is, and it
Oh,
will
okay,
rank
sure.
you. Like it'll rank. It'll be like, oh, well, up at the top is the amazing, perfect Babylonians, and at the
Yeah,
bottom is
yeah,
the like
yeah.
the hopeless
Is
Chinese or
you.
whatever. Right? Like, yeah,
Oh,
that's
sure.
so. But like as it was going on toward the later, like as we started getting closer to the 20th century, I was like, oh, I'm like down in the middle of the pack. Oh, I'm getting worse. Uh-oh. But
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't quite get all the way to space, but I was just like, I see.
And
This
again,
is
you
sort of
don't
what I
have
would.
to get to space. If you get to year 2100, that also is like it's over. You'll get a
Okay,
score
sure.
then.
Sure,
Um,
sure. But
yeah.
yeah, the general idea seemed fine. Like this is one of the things where it kind of helps to know going into it what I'm expecting. Um where it's like what I am trying to do is run a civilization all the way through. Right? Like it's not necessary like I can think about it as a win or lose. Or I can think about it as a lose. That's easy, right? You lose if you fall apart and your civilization dissolves. Right? Then you lose. But like, I feel like there is a large gray area in this game to not win, but also not lose. To be like, listen, my civilization runs. It worked. It got there. I didn't conquer everyone else in the world, but that's fine because very few people ever did, and that's not necessarily the point. Maybe I didn't like finish out going to space, but I would have eventually because I wasn't like dead. But I wouldn't have done particularly well doing that. So is that really a win? I don't know. Uh, but like that's fine, right? That's fine. It doesn't have to be that kind of game to be enjoyable for me. And I think people who are good at this probably would disagree. They'd say like the whole point of this is to try to be the best civilization you can, but I do think that it still works even if your goal is just like, yeah, we'll just run through a civilization, see what happens. What's this one like? You know?
Yeah, you sound more at peace with it than I am.
Yeah, I think that had I not known, I think that had I gone in here being all like, I don't have an idea of what this is, I would have been very frustrated by saying like what constitutes winning though? What is a one game? And maybe if I'm coming from your perspective where you're playing competitively and losing games to other players that you want to beat, you also are in this mindset of like, but how do I win or do
It's not even
well?
so much, I don't necessarily need to like win slash kill
Mhm,
everyone else. I just would like to be competitive, right? I would like
mhm,
to be on the board and not just feel like I might as well be an NPC in my
mm,
own game, which I feel like. And to speaking to some of what you were just saying, I feel like reading the manual, they present you with this notion that they want you to believe that you can do a little bit of whatever you want in this game. That, oh, you can go to war or you can be peaceful. You know, when it asks you which thing do you want to research next, you can choose whatever you want. You could have
mhm,
this kind of a civilization or this kind. You could research math or you could research literature. It's up to you. And every time you play, it's something different. And I feel like that's the presentation. But in actuality, at least the way I feel about it, I can't tell you if this is necessarily true. And again, we're just talking about Civ 1 right now, because of course this will change. But it feels to me that there is still a right way to do it. That even though, yeah, I could choose this in any order, well, it turns out the order that I decided to build things in, or the things I decided to make, and which cities and where, I was wrong because I'm
mhm.
losing. I'm doing poorly and I'm not accomplishing much. So I feel like there's a hidden strategy you're supposed to understand and figure out and just be good at, which and it's not vibing with what I would prefer, which is what more like what you're talking about, more like a Sim City thing. Even though I also was bad at Sim City and didn't understand it either. Of, oh, I can kind of just like, here's what happened. My civilization did this, and we invented that, and what a romp we had. And I don't feel like I get that feeling from this. I really feel like, oh my god, I'm being punished for my mistakes.
Yeah, that is interesting, but because that really is kind of a difference in mindset here. Like it feels like I was more willing to go in and say, "Oh, well, I'm just going to run through a civilization. It doesn't matter." Like, yeah, but I don't have the experience of playing a bunch of games against somebody who's like, "Oh, we're gonna play competitively and I'll crush you with how good I do." Like, I think because that really is for me. I do see how you could be good at this game. There is a score to it. There are goals you can have. You can try to progress as quickly as possible through like whatever tree or do this, that, and the other. But and there are probably optimal ways to do it, but it also feels perfectly enjoyable, at least on easy mode. It feels perfectly enjoyable to just mess around. So I don't necessarily need that higher goal just yet. I like that option is there, that I could go play this on harder difficulties and try to get better at the game so that I actually uh, deal with those appropriately. But I don't need them. And it seems like you're just very much immediately in that mindset of like, this is not optimal. That there is some kind of like you're good or bad. You did bad, whatever.
Well, let me tell you my experience because I
Yeah.
don't think I have that mindset at least from the beginning,
Okay.
and I think that this might change a lot because again in the first game I played, also on the easiest difficulty, so keep that
Hmm.
in mind. I was on a location with other civilizations next to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You can also choose how many civilizations. I don't. I think I went with 3.
Oh, I just went
Uh,
max. I was just
Wait,
like,
what you
fuck it, all
did?
of them. Yeah. I
Oh
was like,
my
all of them.
god,
Put all of them on here. Why not? What's the
Jesus.
worst that could happen? None of they didn't interact with me barely, so who cares?
Okay, well that's surprising to me. Okay, anyway, um, so I really I had such deja vu to SimCity because I really felt a very similar progression where in the first like half of playing Civilization, I'm having a lot of fun and I feel like I'm constantly getting the dopamine hits, right?
Hmm.
I'm frequently founding new towns. Every time I do, oh wow, that's a little. Oh, they're giving me a little. They're letting me expand my palace. That's a neat little thing.
Hmm.
I'm frequently achieving new science technologies and then choosing a new one. That's pretty cool, giving me new options. Oh wow, I'm exploring. I'm uncovering more of the land that I'm in. All this stuff is happening. I'm moving. I'm expanding. This is really exciting, and I feel like I'm doing things. And then at some point, and believe me, I chalk most of this up to my own lack of understanding. Yeah, at some point I just hit a wall. And in the case of my first game, I did start conquering a little bit. I had military. I played as the Egyptians. I was next to Rome, and I was kicking Rome's ass. I had Rome. I was taking over a few cities. I was feeling good. And at some point, everyone else just started ramping up and I was stagnating. And sooner or later, here comes Germany. And they kept fucking coming at me and retaking some of the cities that I had taken and trying to take more of mine. And even some of the ones that they weren't taking, they just kept attacking them. So eventually I just said, like, made peace with them because I was just tired of dealing with their shit. I was like, fine, we're fucking at peace. Here's your money. Just leave me the fuck alone. And when I look at my chart at the end, I'm like right at where everybody else is. They show you the graph of your progression, and my line is going up, 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 and then there's just a point where it's like stops and kind of goes flat and down, and everyone else keeps moving up for the most part. And I'm like, what? And then it's I find it just so demoralizing by the end when I see planes and shit coming in, and I'm like, I don't even have fucking guns. I'm like, and I just don't know what did I do wrong. I just don't fully grok. How am I? Was I supposed to build this thing at this city? Am I supposed to build up a bunch more militia first and like then focus on this other thing? Because I was just kind of going, oh, maybe I'll build a library here because that's neat. But it feels like even with the suggestions they were giving me, I was missing out on the fundamental track I should have been following of how to make a city prosperous
Mm.
and in conjunction with my other cities. I don't even know like basic stuff like when should I stop building cities? How many cities do I want? Should I keep building settlers and exploring more? There's just so many little things that I feel like I don't get. And
Mm.
I wouldn't mind it as much again. Like I wouldn't mind so much losing, but the real killer for it is for me, and this happened in both the full games that I played. By the time I got to like the 1800s or 1900s, I just felt like I had come to a point where I kind of ran out of things to do. And like I didn't really have any more cities to found. I had made peace with people or had given up on fighting. So I was kind of just sitting there, like hitting enter over and over again, waiting for turns to end, waiting for stuff to be researched, click, 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 click. And I didn't really know like what I should be doing. And it was boring. I,
Yeah,
I, I feel like in that late game in particular, it almost feels like you have to go military. Otherwise, there's like nothing else to do at a certain point.
I do feel that because there did come a point where I started to stagnate, although I felt like it was probably because I was trapped on my island where I was like, I don't want any more cities. I'm all citied out. There's no more room for any cities. I want to move over to another place and expand over there, but I don't really know how. But even at that point, I was just like, well, there like, I don't know, I felt like I was, generally speaking, relatively ahead of where the curve you might expect it to be based on the year, and there were plenty of times where I was just like, "Alright, well, I don't know how to go over here, but, like, I can't help but notice you have, like, Roman centurion legions and not, like, guns, and so I'm gonna take my, Ironside ship and just blow up every single one of your coastal cities and then go back home for no reason. I guess that'll set you back. I wish I could go take them. Don't know how to do that." I mean, that was a little bit before the part where you're talking about, but I did eventually get to a point where I was like, "All right, click, click, click." But also, like, I don't know, if you're managing your city income versus food production relatively well. I was finding that like I had enough in the treasury that I could just start skipping. I would just be like, yeah, just make it. Just make it. Just make the damn thing.
I mean, I'm
Um
fully, I 100% did not, I was not, I don't like I paid attention to any of that.
I didn't have
I,
anything else to pay attention to. There's nobody on my
yeah,
island.
I mean, this is the I probably didn't either, but this is the problem of just straight up, I fully admit it, just like not understanding how to read some of these menus or just not knowing
Yeah.
where that was or which parts were important to be looking at. And I would, like you said, I would look at a city and like one time I bought something to finish it along, but I was like, oh, I guess I should have been doing that. I don't even know. Like, I don't really even have a sense of how much money I have. I'm so bad at understanding
Mm.
all these systems. And it really does feel like there is a hard skill lock at a certain point of this game where you can get away with so much in the first section and fuck around and just build some roads and explore and look at your little buildings be made and have fun. But at a certain point I felt like, well, I haven't learned what to do here. It's not helping me along. And quite frankly, I think what I'm learning about myself between this and Ultima is that I'm old. I just don't have the energy or the patience anymore to like, I don't have it in, because I'm sure there are probably people, if they're big Civ fans, even of the newer ones, probably listening to this will say like, oh, well, you just have to do this, or, play it another time or read this guide. And then like, you'll learn, like, I could teach you, like someone could play next to you and be like, oh, you should build this now and then build that. And I just hear that and I'm like, I don't fucking wanna, I just don't want to learn. I just want to play a game and not learn.
I mean, I'm not going to mirror that, but there is
Yeah.
something to the fact, because here's the problem. I would absolutely be interested in playing a game and learning, right? Like the idea, in fact, that's one of the things that I love in a game. I love when I can. The very few games that I played before this podcast tended to be games where I would say like, I'm just gonna spend like 1,000 hours learning how to play this game really well, and that's the only game I play. I play like 3 games total, and I've played those 3 games for the last 10 years, and that's all I do. And so like I can look at Civ and say, I could see myself getting really into a game like this and learning all the ins and outs and all the little intricacies and like really learning it. But if that was the case, I'd want to really learn it. I'd want to say, like, this is the game. And the problem is that, like, okay, Civ could be that game. SimCity could be that game. Pirates could be that game. Ultima could be that game, right? Like, and in fact, there's like a dozen games we've done that could be that game, except the problem is that, like, at most, only one of those could be that game, right? Like, at most, we've been doing this podcast for only like a year. If I'm going to pick up a game on the level of I need to learn it, I'm really not going to do more than one per year. I'm certainly not going to do one every week. And so, if you're going to tell me, sit down and learn Civ, that's great. It better be the best fucking game in the entire world, right? Because here's 50 other games that are going to be asking the same thing of me, and I'm not doing it for more than one, at most, maybe zero. So I do think that I sort of feel what you're saying, but not entirely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is definitely an inclination of mine. I am not this, what you're referring to is even more of an issue in modern gaming, certainly much more than it was back then, because now you have games like live service games that are continually updated. And even at the time it was like, yeah, you could uh, you know the way I feel like I've heard it phrased today is you're married to certain games. You can either be married to like usually just
Mhm.
one game, or you can date around and play a lot of different games. And
Mhm.
even if you were married to Civ 1 in the 90s, at a certain point you're going to figure it out and you're going to feel like you've done everything you can do with that game. Whereas
Mhm.
today you have, like, if you're playing Fortnite or even Minecraft, you're never done. You're never done. It
Right.
goes on forever. And that is just not what I'm about. I am not a guy who spends 1,000 hours on one game. I want to finish a game. I want to see what it has to offer and then play something else. And so the part of this may just be a fundamental disconnect with my personal play style for things. Um, but I don't even that I don't know if it's entirely fair, because it's like I've certainly put way more hours into games than I did to Civ this week, but at a certain point, it's gotta the play has to be interesting enough to convince me to want to go deeper. And I did have to. There were times this week where I had to be like, "Oh my god, I gotta play more Civ." I really didn't. And then I would have. It was funny because I had then once I finished one game, I started up another one. I tried the normal mode, and I started having fun again. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm getting better at the game. Maybe I'm locking into this more. I'm feeling good about this. And then I hit that same wall and was like, oh no, I'm still in the same place and I'm just experiencing it all over again. I don't know. I'm rambling now, but all that to say that I had
You
mixed
need
feelings on this one.
double bullshit baby mode is what you need.
I mean, the problem with bullshit, it's not called that. The problem with the tutorial mode is that I don't actually think it's a good tutorial. It's like at the bottom, it says, when I'm deciding what to build, it'll be like, hey, maybe build some militia. And the other side will be like, hey, maybe we could build like a bank. And it kind of tells you, for this, to protect the city or to increase the population. But it doesn't really help me understand why those choices can be made or when they should be made. It's like, and most of the time I kind of did what they said and still didn't do well. So I don't even know how accurate those things are.
They're not that accurate. Like, I was finding, like, well into the game, I was getting, like, constant alerts of, like, you don't have any military defending your cities. What are you going to do? And I was like, yeah, that's because nobody comes by. Like, there's, like, every once in a while, I'll get a barbarian raid and my, like, 2 guys will just come fend it off. The English are coming by, but I'm friends with them. Nobody else is stopping by. I'm going over there. Like, I don't need stop telling me I need them. But, I was very, for the point in the game where I was probably very underfortified. I don't think it knows that well what you need to be doing.
Yeah. I mean, look, it was, for the time, this was a very advanced game. And I understand that it was probably difficult to program a proper tutorial. That's why it came with a 100-page book. But, that doesn't change the fact that it was difficult for me to grasp in many ways. I don't know.
Actually, I'm thinking now, just to go back to it, can I just say the English, like Queen Elizabeth came over to me and she was all like, we are the powerful Royal British Navy and we'll fuck your shit up and crush all of your cities unless you tell us the secrets of whatever. And I was like, no, thank you. I ain't doing that. And she was like, oh, you want to make peace? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, okay, cool. We're friends forever. And like, what was that?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
I mean, clearly the AI was sort of limited in that way back then. I had so many times when I also just was so annoyed. When I was at war with whoever, and they just kept. And there was a time when I felt like I was doing okay and I had enough military units. I wanted to be at war with them. Like I was like, I'm taking over your cities. But every time I ran into them, they'd be like, oh, an emissary wants to meet with you. And I was just like, no, just fuck off, because it's always the same choices. And I never wanted to make peace. I just wanted to conquer them. And I was just pissed off. They wouldn't leave me alone. And there are other things.
Actually beat them then.
Yeah, well, that's
they're doing they're struggling for their lives out here. They're dying.
Right. You're not wrong. Until they came back and I was struggling and dying, and I was like, all right, we'll make peace. Just shut the fuck up.
Maybe you should listen to that emissary.
And I mean, there's a whole thing with diplomats that sounded cool in practice. I did it a couple times where you can send a diplomat to live in their city and then you can kind of spy on them. But again, I never really figured out a good way to use that information or what. I don't really know. Sometimes they would tell me like, "Hey, the Romans just did this," and I was like, Good for them." I don't. Should I react to that? Should I care? I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand so many things. I just never feel like I know what I should be doing at any given time. All I want to do is be like, "Oh, look, I'm building things. Maybe I'll get to space." Trust me, I never got to space. Didn't happen. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how much of this, modern Civ players might say, yeah, this is Civ
Mhm.
1. It's of course it's more simplistic and not as good. Or, but I kind of feel like I have similar feelings even with Civ 5, where I think that is more just a fundamental issue with me.
It does sound like you're describing something pretty fundamental about the way that you interact with the gameplay. Whereas I do think that's a lot of my issues where I'm just like, I understand what I'm supposed to be trying to do, and I understand like what given options, what those options would do for me and whether they would be good or not. What I don't understand is when I clicked that, what did I do? Or like how do I do this? And I feel like that's something that probably would be solved going forward. I probably would do better on later
Yeah.
games, but
Like I said, I feel like if I were to sit down now and go back through the manual and be like, now I have an idea of, okay, what I know there are these specific things that I just kind of bullshitted my way past. And I should actually look and see, okay, here's what I'm actually supposed to do about that. But, then it's like, well, why? At the
mhm.
end of the day, what's my reward for going through that effort? Especially when, I mean, obviously I could just be playing a newer Civ that people actually care about. There's really, I do think that this is one of the instances where uh, it's important and interesting to discuss this game for its historical importance, but no Civ player is really going back to Civ 1 unless they're I think the fact that there's websites where you can play this game in a browser is the only thing that makes it compelling. Is that if you're, if you just got a shitty laptop and nothing to do, well, there's like Civ 1, I guess. But otherwise, there's not really a reason to look back at this title. But, it was revolutionary for the time. Every time I switched governments, it always fucked me. Like then everybody was
Mm.
pissed. And yeah, I know. Like, then I was okay. I'm building temples that like quells them, but I just clearly there were just things about this game I just never understood.
Yeah, I mean the governments I'm pretty sure one of the biggest differences for governments is like how you react to like military control. And then there's some stuff with like corruption and stuff that I don't know what those values are enough to really understand. So like if you were being heavily militaristic and then you switched to like a more modern governmental style, people might have gotten pissed because it's like, well, I was willing to put up with you conscripting all of my everyone I knew and sending us all off to die when you were a despot and you would just execute me. But like, this is a democracy now. What are we doing? You can't just take
Yeah,
everybody.
right.
Now
That's what
we're
we do in
mad.
this country.
We don't actually. We haven't actually had a draft in like forever.
Oh, did you
We
mention a
we
draft? I wasn't listening. I just
we
meant the war part.
yeah, but we do propaganda and brainwashing to get people to like it.
Well, why isn't that should have been in the tech tree? What the fuck? What does it say about me that pretty much every time I hear the word democracy, I hear Obi-Wan Kenobi in my head? You
Well,
just
I
have
mean,
to
I'll tell
not.
you, I do know exactly which time he said democracy you're thinking of, so
Yeah. The democracy.
right, exactly.
Can't not hear it. So
Right.
iconic.
Well, I
I all
mean,
like my
you must have been going crazy on the Republic, which is that must have
right,
been
right.
just
Similar thing.
yeah, yeah.
My second game, like I said, I was on an island, and I specifically decided when a few civilizations approached me, and I was always peaceful. I was like, let me just do my own thing here. And I think the reason I went militaristic the first game is more out of boredom than
Mhm.
than anything else. It was like, well, I've like built a bunch of cities and I don't know what to do next, so I guess I'm just supposed to go hit people. It seemed like the option. But I kind of do think it is the I feel like they probably did not quite lock into a proper, you know, uh, branching of choices for this game that they
Mhm.
I'm sure did better in later entries. How did
Yeah.
you feel about the overall the way this game presents history and like which things in the tech tree they include? It's you need the wheel to get this, to get that.
Yeah, I was gonna say the tech tree is very strange because there are so many things that like aren't locked behind other like first of all the fact that I'm sending out settlers in a covered wagon and I don't have the wheel yet, little weird. I don't think I had the wheel for a
Right.
long time. Like I'm pretty sure I had like Bronze Age weapons before I had the wheel. Right, like it
Yeah.
was yeah, and there was all kinds of I had, God, did I have atomic weapons before I had iron? I might have. It was not that far off. Like, it's fucking weird the paths you can go down in this game. There's all kinds of it's just odd. It's just very odd, and so it doesn't always quite make sense to me. And one other thing that I don't know how I feel about it is that, when I was playing it, I kind of was thinking like, oh, well, maybe I can go down this, like I can be more like this in my society and less like this. Like I want to do
Right.
more mathematics and philosophy and less war, or like I want
Mhm.
to do more more Bronze Age war and less like chemistry or something like that, or like maybe I want to be super theocratic and go all in on mysticism or spirituality, or maybe I don't want to do that. But it kind of feels like, listen, man, in real life, most civilizations are kind of dealing with all elements of the human condition. So you are just going down all paths of the tech tree, right? Like at a certain point, you're going to go down all of these, and I couldn't help but wonder if that might make the game a little bit samey. Like you're not going down all of this and being like, well, this first time I was super super like letting the church control my people, and this time we're very much like immediately going into universities. We're not integrating those, or I don't know. I feel like maybe you would just be like, yeah, you just go down all elements of the tech tree. I might do this one a little bit earlier than this one in this playthrough because I needed to, but at the end of the day, we're kind of just going down all the roads at about the same time and doing all of them by the end anyway. Like, does that make it feel like all the civilizations are kind of the same in some way?
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think the only real differentiating factors when you play is your position in the map and like how quickly you do or don't meet other civilizations. And I think really whether you choose to be at war or peaceful,
Hmm.
which is, I feel like that's the only really meaningful choice you can make.
Yeah.
Everything else is just kind of go through it.
And I feel like even that is like you can be on a gradient, but you can't just be peaceful. Like even sitting on my island alone, it's like, yeah, but like sometimes random barbarian raiders
Oh
show
yeah.
up and you just have to have military guys. Like
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
you're like I'm a peaceful society, it's like, okay, cool, you still need your guns. Like you still have to have
Yeah.
them. Right? Like
It's
that too
also
bad.
again, like that's half of what you can do in the game. So
Yeah.
even if you wanted to ignore that, you're just left with half a game.
Right.
And of course, these are things that are improved on in later iterations, and even like in this one, also the civilizations don't really have any differences with each other when you play it as them, at least. So it's not like, oh, I'm the Egyptians, so I'm better at this. It's there. It's just the names of your cities. It's just a skin,
I
really.
mean, you know what actually did kind of piss me off is that like when I was in the very early stages of governments, my Babylonians looked like, old
Oh, yeah.
Babylonian guys. And I was like, that's pretty fun and cool. And then it was like, okay, you're a democracy now. And I'm like, oh, I'm just like some white guy. What happened?
Yeah.
Why can't Babylon? What are we saying here? Or can we not? Oh, the dark skinned Babylonians, they were too brutish to enjoy democracy. They had to be white. What are we doing? What is this? Come on.
They couldn't afford to make multiple animations for every civilization. They only could do so much.
Yeah, well, I just think it's telling what they chose to do.
Take it up with Sid Meier.
I will.
Did you ever build any wonders?
I did. I did. I was trying to prioritize some wonders. I liked me some wonders. There were several times where I tried to build a wonder like 3 times and the city fell into unrest because I was putting all my resources toward that and not making them happy. And I was like, I had to come in
Yeah.
and be like, we're bringing in the soldiers, shut the fuck up." And then my progress got halted and then someone else made the wonder. It happens.
I think I built a few, and I think I didn't build any of them first or something.
Mm.
I don't know. It was like, I don't know. I tried.
Yeah, I
I
had
don't
like the
know.
Colossus and I had the Great Library,
Yeah, yeah.
Isaac Newton's College,
I was
some
honestly a
other
little
things.
confused. I was like, I think those are wonders, but I honestly was never even sure when I like hovered over them and the thing they have like a little symbol next to them, maybe, or they just sound
I
kind of like wonders, but
I
I
think they
wasn't.
get symbols next to them when someone makes them.
Oh, is that see? See, I did
I
not know what
think.
any of these things
I'm not
meant.
positive about that. That is
I see.
that is
I
picked up
thought
from
it.
context.
I thought maybe it meant like, oh, nobody's built it yet. Build this one. Like I
Mm,
didn't know. And then again, if that's the case, then that means there is no indication. I just have to kind of know, like, oh, well, that sounds special. I think that's a wonder. I don't know. Yeah, the UI definitely needed a little bit of work.
mm.
What can you do? It was 1991. They never made a game like this before. I don't know. You tell me. What do you? How do you square all this away? What's your final feelings on Civilization? And if you would be so kind as to give it your personal IGN rating.
So I mean, I did like Civilization. I thought that it was, I did not mind saying like, well, I'm just gonna plod through the full history of this civilization. I thought that it was fun. I thought that it was enjoyable. Um, and I was getting, even during some of the sections where I'm like, I'm just sitting there getting research. Okay, fine, spam enter a couple times and I get research. I was getting that dopamine hit that like the city built this, your scientists found this, you get to upgrade your palace. That was happening relatively frequently. There were a lot of things going on and I enjoyed them. And I think that I could have learned to enjoy it even more if I got really into it because I was around at the time this game came out and this was like the big thing. Um I did find it to be, the I found it to be a little bit confusing as to like what the hell I was doing in ways that I think it would not have been that difficult to fix. Um, and I do think that like I'm a little bit worried that there might be like a sameness to the replay, although going on harder difficulties might make that better, right? Like just saying like you have to be good. You're learning to optimize, right? Like I'm going from plodding around, messing around, playing for fun to full on in the weeds optimization spreadsheets. I could see all of that being fun. But yeah, generally speaking, I was having a relatively good time playing it. And I thought it was fairly enjoyable, but it wasn't anything like incredible or anything like that. Um, I feel like I am gonna give Sid Meier's Civilization. Uh, I think I actually am gonna give it the slight edge over Pirates. Although it's hard for me to articulate why that is. It's just like what was the feeling I had while playing it. Um, and so I'm gonna give it the slight edge over that, and I'll give it a 7.3. A point one
7.3.
difference.
It's funny because for me, like I said, my comp is SimCity. I'm not really looking at my Pirates score. To me, it's much more, is this better or worse than SimCity?
Well, I liked it better than SimCity, that's for sure.
um
Because it gave me a sense of being part. Like, if guess I didn't put that in there. What it gave me that was more similar to Pirates is a sense of like existing within a larger world and making my mark on it over a long period of time. Whereas SimCity was very much like I don't know if I understand the city very well in the context of the world outside the city, right? Like this is your city, you are managing it, right? As opposed to like here's the world, go out and build stuff. So that's to me it felt different. So anyway.
no, fair enough. Fair enough. I sort of I had the feeling that you had for a time in this game. And in addition to all the little quibbles that I already stated, I think my ultimate issue is that I've, you're talking about like, oh, the tech tree and it feels good. There's a wheel and now that leads to this and this leads to that. And it seemed at the outset to me like, oh, wow, there's so much variation and I'm developing technology in a sometimes logical way. And that's interesting the way it all works. But at the end of the day, I kind of feel like it's all just a smoke screen. That it's like, yeah, it says I'm discovering chemistry or whatever, but it's really just you could replace all the and maybe you could say this about many other video games too, but I don't know, it just seemed more naked to me in this one for some reason. It just you could replace all these names with just letters, and it's like, well, if you want to get L, which you need L to win, you got to start by getting A, and then you'll get to B, and then B will lead to a C, and then a D. Or you could do over here, and there's this other track, which is the numbers, and there's 1 to 2 or whatever. And the things that I choose to get don't really change the feeling of the gameplay. The only like real thing is, oh, my military units are better now. But it's not like, oh, now that I have guns, that's it's really different how I fight. No, I still just go like click, push, they moved into the unit's gone. Like that
Mhm.
it still feels exactly the same as it was. It's not like, oh, I built this library. Now I'm like now there's book sales or something. Now there's like people now there's texts being written that matter. No, it's just like there's a building there and it like affected a number in a way. So it all just felt very shallow to me ultimately. And while I found there was fun to be had in it, it just isn't quite my style of game. And for how primitive this iteration of it is, I would need something much more advanced and much more inviting that was really giving me way more breadcrumbs to make me want to properly understand what I was doing and get more out of it. I'm gonna give this game. I certainly liked Pirates more than this. I had a lot more fun with Pirates. I similarly, like I said, struggled with SimCity, but I give this game a little more, just a little more credit, I guess, because there is a lot more going on and it is very ambitious. And I like what it was attempting to do. And I did have moments, times of fun with it before the dismay really set in. I'm gonna give it a 6.2.
Sure, sounds good to me. Yeah, I feel what you're saying about the tech tree. Like I do hear that like you get it and it's like cool. That means that I have this now, which means that I could build this building in my city. But it's not like you might think I hit electricity in my tech tree, so society should transform. Like I should start
Right.
seeing my little cities light up, and when I click on them, I should see, light bulbs or some shit. But I don't. It just means that I could click on this button to get this thing. It looks
Right.
like when you said I'm thinking like it's like it. You're saying it felt like a smoke screen. Maybe what you need is it needs to feel like a paint job. Right. It's still just hiding the underlying mechanics of the thing. There's nothing special under like it's all just some numbers, but like one of them looks different and is like it gives you an aesthetic of a changed world and the other one's like, "Listen man, you have it. Don't look too hard." I
Yeah.
see what you're saying.
Yeah. Give me something. Give me something. Like it could be gameplay elements too. It could be
Hmm.
I don't know. Just but like that's a difficult proposition because when you're covering all of civilization,
Right.
how do you make every little piece feel distinct and that it gives you something like that? So you kind
Yeah.
of have to say, well, then none of them can. Otherwise, all of them have to, and that's impossible.
Especially if you give me the freedom to do things in like all of these different orders. Like if you're kind of like, listen, you know, this is what a society during the 1600s looked like, and this is what it looked like during the 1700s, and this is what. So like, you're not getting you're not getting cars without electricity, for example. But if you're like, well, you could kind of, if you wanted to get cars first before you got electricity, like, you could do that, that would be okay. Then it makes it a lot harder because all of those assets have to interact with each other, and there's only so much room that this game has to work with because it's old.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is also why these games appeal so much more to people who are mathematically minded,
Hmm.
right? I'm very much I care about theme. I care about feeling like I'm in a place. There's a vibe, there's an aesthetic. I want to be immersed in a universe. And I think the people who really love these types of games are much more about what's the strategy and how do I make this number go up and do that. And like the fact that, oh, democracy doesn't really mean the same thing it should or whatever. They don't care about that because that's not what they're here for.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, but maybe people would disagree with that. Certainly, and again, I don't know that it's even worth saying because it seems obvious, but you're looking at like Civ 5 and 6 and 7, they go to much greater lengths to do that kind of thing because it's
Yeah.
nowadays it is less acceptable to not be doing that.
Yeah. And you just can, right?
That too. There is a quote that I really liked that Sid Meier said about this game. I want to read it.
Yeah.
He said, quote, "The game really isn't about being civilized. The competition is what makes the game fun, and the players play their best. At times, you have to make the player uncomfortable for the good of the player." I don't know if you really felt that in this particular game, but I think as an overall philosophy about games, I agree with that. That there are sometimes you do need players to you kind of have to hurt them for their own good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to see if I had that experience ever with this game specifically. Maybe if I'd gone into it with a specific idea of what I wanted, or if I had been in a position where I just like had to fight a lot and didn't want to, and it just didn't come up for me really. I don't know.
I guess imagine if there were zero civilizations besides you. Would you still have enjoyed it with no comparison or anything?
Yeah, not as much,
Yeah.
but I think I still would have been fine with it. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, I do in general think that that is a good mindset with respect to like making art though. Like, fuck your audience. Hurt them. That's
Oh, okay.
good. You should do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a quick step over to retro review corner. A few interesting reviews that I want to talk about from the time of Civilization's release originally. This one comes from White Wolf Magazine, and they liked this game. They said Civilization should have great appeal to the plotters and thinkers, those who like challenges on a global scale. Might makes right addicts should stick to games less cerebral.
They're saying if you don't like it, you're dumb.
That is kind of what they are saying, which is funny because I feel like one of my criticisms is that it forces you into military fights. That is too much of a part of the game. But I guess I understand. At this time, I think it was just if it wasn't action, if it was turn based,
Yeah.
then it wasn't the same thing.
Yeah, well, also because the way that you win in this isn't by necessarily being stronger, it's by having laid out your society such that you have the better stuff. Right? Like I win in a military battle because I had more cities producing more citizens with better sustained food, to do, or money or whatever to do all of that, and I had better research, so I had guns and you had spears or whatever. So it is still might makes right, but you get to feel like, yes, but I'm only stronger because I am smarter than you.
Yeah. It's Revenge of the Nerds is what it
Yeah.
is. I mean, probably a lot of this game could be boiled down to that. Why? That's probably another, unironically, at least in the 90s, I'm sure that was part of the appeal was who's playing this game? The losers, the dorks who like math class and history class, who can't get a date. Sorry, gamers, it's true.
I mean,
they
that's
go
still.
home. I mean, it's
let's-
every game. It's every game.
I was gonna say, are we gonna pretend that like civilization still isn't on that side of the spectrum here? Like, if you're all like, yeah, gaming's mainstream now, everyone's a gamer. You don't mean civilization. That's not what you mean when you say that.
Right. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it is, I guess, like many games. I guess I shouldn't single this one out for it, but it is a power fantasy. It is like, I want to rule the fucking world. I want to be in control of everything.
Well,
Everything.
I mean, here maybe this is why you had as bad a time as you did, because I didn't care about ruling the whole world, and you did. Because I'm not that person. I'm a much better person than that. I'm
Yeah,
kinder,
right.
more empathetic,
Yeah.
Christ-like.
Yes. You are Christ-like in many ways. In that I'm going to fucking murder you. Nail you to a cross. This review also says they mentioned the manual. They say the 100+ page manual is required reading somewhere along the line. You can learn to play the game through trial and error, but it will be a steep learning curve. The manual is easy reading and will speed you along your path into the history books. I do agree it's like not difficult reading.
Yeah.
It's just not like
context matters, right? If this was like, if you're all like, what's easier reading, this or I don't fucking know, Ulysses, right? Like this is, yeah, sure. But if you're like, what's easier reading, this or the manual for Mario? Like, I mean,
yeah. Computer Gaming World magazine also awarded Civilization Strategy Game of the Year. They said, the reason I kind of thought this was interesting because we were talking about it at the start, the definition of a strategy game, and you can see there's some internal debate which they put right in their discussion of it in the magazine. Quote, strategy games are relatively easy to define, but they are not always easy to distinguish from a popular subset of strategy games, war games. Some publishers have found they prefer to position their combat games as strategy games to remove some of the stigma from the war games category. Hence, Sid Meier was reluctant to call Civilization a war game, and we are able to justify calling it a strategy game because it offers city construction, diplomacy, and economics in addition to warfare. That's a whole other genre we didn't even mention. And that, I don't know what to make of any of this because, we have you who's saying, well, you didn't really take part in much of that, so you definitely probably wouldn't think of this as a war game. And I'm saying it's too warlike, and they're saying it is, but they called it this, so it's not. It's
yeah,
like,
I mean,
what is
it is also strange to me because I would be like, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that a war game would call itself a strategy game because to remove the stigma, but I don't know. To me, it just feels like, yeah, war game feels like a subset of strategy game. Like that doesn't feel like you're like, yeah, sure. I don't know. It doesn't feel like you're doing it to remove the stigma. I don't know.
I don't know what the scene was like for PC games in the 90s. I can only tell you from a board gamer's perspective. To me, in board game world, war game is kind of not a dirty word, but
Hmm.
very off-putting to me. It's like if something calls itself a war game, that probably means it's very dry, it's historical, it will take a long time to play, it's going to be very crunchy and complicated. Whereas it's like, oh, a strategy game, there's probably a deck of cards, maybe I roll dice, it could be any kind of thing. So I don't know if there was a similar mindset here.
So maybe that's the stigma they mean, is that it's boring and sucks rather than like it's violent or
Yeah.
promotes bad ideas.
Right. I think maybe. My favorite one though is this is the actual, I think they call it a preview from Computer Gaming World, but it really is a review, but I guess it's just from before the game came out. And they have overall, they say, they rave about the game. They say it's the greatest discovery in computer entertainment since the wheel. But I have to read, they have a section in the review labeled political correctness,
Uh-oh.
which reads, Civilization also strives to be a, quote, hip game and deals with popular social issues from the standpoint of, quote, political correctness. Thus, global warming is a tremendous threat. Parentheses, one that is all too often realized in the beta version, close parentheses. Odd for such a recent, unproven theory, ... Poor daughter. Evolution is expressed in the game's introduction, but at least that debate has been around a while. Pollution, therefore, becomes a society's primary focus after industrialization takes place, with players being channeled toward more politically correct power plants, recycling centers, and mass transit to address the problem. Even the beta test Superhighway Wonder of the World gave way to women's suffrage. While women's suffrage is a novel concept for its effect during gameplay, it is also another brick in the wall of political correctness.
I mean, I was also thinking like I might comment on the fact that like if global warming goes wrong, then the climate, like it's bad, but the climate just goes into a new equilibrium and like stuff like biomes get fucked up and it can mess you up, but it's not like global warming comes and then, oh my god, half of the cities are in famine, there's refugee crises everywhere, certain areas are like actually unlivable, and it never goes away or stops because it's gonna last, like, it will take like fucking 50,000 years to go back into equilibrium. Fuck you. I was thinking like this is maybe not harsh enough on global warming here. But
yes. Right. Well, it was, I don't know, it was the 90s. I mean, the fact that it's mentioned in the game, I think is actually kind of surprising.
Yeah, it's surprising because people like to pretend that this is a new idea when in fact we've known about it for fucking ever. And it just nobody made a big deal about it. And then
Yeah,
when
why
people
make
did
such a
make a
big
big
deal
deal
about
about
it
it,
now?
everyone was like, where's this coming from all of a sudden? We haven't known about this for 40 years already. That was 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. They mention it
Very
again
funny.
towards the end. They say, you can get bonus points at the end, but negatives are assessed for any pollution with the Empire. And they say in parentheses, as per the game's politically correct bias. So they don't even just not think global warming they just don't even care about they think pollution is woke.
Yeah.
This guy, if this person who wrote this is still alive, they definitely love.
Oh, yeah.
They really wanted to say woke, but they didn't have that term.
I was gonna say, like, the word woke was such a godsend. Can you imagine having to say political correctness every time? Yeah. Like, God, that must.
They didn't even
suck.
have PC. Oh, they couldn't say PC because you're a video game magazine.
Yeah, you're in a.
It's confusing.
Women's suffrage is just another brick in the wall of political correctness.
It's incredible that
Christ.
It really does paint a picture of the computer game audience at the time that this was completely acceptable to publish in your magazine. No one batted an eye. It is crazy to me that they wrote that and people were like, oh yeah, I guess that is, yeah, I don't know. Okay, let me play my, I just can't fathom it. Wild
Yeah.
shit. Who the fuck wrote this? I should be calling him out. It's Alan
Yeah,
Emmerich.
Meanwhile, I'm over here being all like, it's kind of weird that you have like government styles like
Right.
despotism and monarchy and the republic and
woke enough.
democracy, and then you put communism in there. Communism's an economic system that would go across from capitalism, not democracy. What are we doing here?
Oh shit. Okay, so we're learning a new history lesson here.
Ooh.
Alan, I don't know if it's pronounced Emmerich or Emmerich. Alan Emmerich, I'm guessing. Guess what? He died last year, so burn in hell. He not only was he one of the designers of the Master of Orion series, which is another big 4X video game, also board games of it. He's the one who came up with the term 4X.
Damn, crazy.
That's him. He's responsible for that. He in a review of the original Master of Orion, he worked on, I guess it says he worked on the design of the first game. So he reviewed his own fucking game. Whatever.
Does 4X kind of have fashy vibes to you?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's Manifest Destiny, right? It's like
That's true. I just mean like the way that it's 4X, right? Like
I see.
like the X is the number. There's something like in the symbolism of it, the way that you would be like, oh, 88 or whatever, right? Like I need some kind of small. I don't know. There's a fashy symbology to it. I think. I just mean like if you're using that term, maybe you're a Nazi.
You might be right. He taught game design at the Art Institute of California. He co-founded the board game publisher Victory Point Games. I am familiar with that publisher. Wow. There's nothing on his Wikipedia page about his politics. Maybe it was 1991. Yeah, maybe he grew and learned and changed.
It's possible, yeah.
I don't know. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure he deserved. Can we finally give one white man who plays computer games the benefit of the doubt? Few comments, just a minor mail opening this week.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. In response to some of the things we said last week about Ultima, as well as our Metroid 2 review.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing crazy. Just Avatar Protocol responding to what we said. I'm sorry if you didn't listen to the episode. I'm not going to recap it. But we talked about the moon gates, and how we were sort of confused about them.
Mm-hmm.
And he helps us explain them a little bit. He said they're ultimately just fast travel, but the manual explains their importance as well. It's the first paragraph under transportation. Good tip. And he says, also, it's worth mentioning I am by no means disappointed with your progress on a very old game within a week. I just don't want you feeling like you have to walk everywhere and get into even more tedious combat than you need to. I'm also not sure you realize that you don't need to let any attackers ever retreat. You just get bonus virtue if you let the animals retreat. I always killed everything that attacked me. I'm not even sure if that's exactly how it works, except that if you kill them, you don't lose avatarhood by doing so. You also don't get less enemies with less party members. You just alternate between 2 characters instead of 3 to 8. So
okay.
At least I don't know if that's true in the Sega version. He may be talking about the original.
Because I could have sworn that when I finally got my third and fourth party members, I started seeing larger groups of enemies. But maybe I'm just stupid.
No, you definitely do. I think the other thing is I don't know if in the Sega version it's possible to dismiss party members. I think once you have them, you keep them. So it's a little bit of a different thing. Okay. So, good to know Avatar Protocol is not disappointed in us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, listen, we could have lost a listener. You never know.
Good to know. But he also Also said on the subject of Metroid 2, which we played last week, said, great episode. Obviously, Metroid 2 was a huge improvement on Metroid 1, but it never made sense to me that the new Metroids just aren't as threatening. When you see normal Metroids, including the ones at the very end of this game, the small ones, you can't just shoot them with missiles. You have to freeze them, then missile them with several missiles. If you miss and they get to you, they attach themselves to you, and you have to bomb them off in just the right position and pray you can get away quickly enough before you try to freeze them again, lest they reattach themselves. These new Metroids just have regular, boring collision that takes away some hit points, and you just have to dodge them like the Koopas in Mario. Is it any wonder we almost never see them again?
Well, my answer
yeah.
to that is that you should subscribe to our Patreon and go back to listen to our episode on aliens, where we discuss aliens, because I do feel like there's some parallels here between the aliens and aliens and the face huggers. You know, how in
Interesting.
some ways, once they start coming at you. You know, in the first one he's very scary, but or whatever it is. In the second one, you know, maybe we can gun down some of the big ones, but
Yeah,
those little babies, they're pretty fucked up.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good parallel. Maybe we need to learn more about the biology of these things. Like maybe the early stages are scarier for danger reasons, but maybe there's other like advantages the evolved forms have for their species that don't apply directly to combat that we just don't understand or something. Don't know. He also
advanced
says
farther in the tech tree.
Right.
They've
He also
unlocked
says-
women's suffrage. Don't let me talk. Keep going.
He also says, have a go at AM2R during one of your streams for a short stint. Even if you don't play it to the end, it'll still be worth it to see your thoughts on the comparison up to the first few Alpha Metroids. AM2R is the fan-made Samus, Return of Samus remake that everybody loves. I've never personally played it, but that could be a fun one to mark down for later. I don't remember what it stands for. AM2R, Amazing Metroid 2 Returns. Don't know.
I got nothing.
And another comment here from Solomon's Still the Best, who says about Metroid, I beat this game in an evening when I was 12. Between this and Myst, I'm starting to wonder if Will just isn't doing the assignments.
Listen, I will say it's possible that I could be putting more time into these, but also, no, in no universe was I beating that game in an evening. No way. That was not happening.
Well, he also says the game is great for a Game Boy game. As simply a game, it's a bit blah. The plot is rather dark. It's like if Rome sent a mercenary to Africa to eradicate all the elephants so Hannibal couldn't weaponize them. Loving your podcast, guys, especially your Echo episode. Keep at it. Assuming he means part 1. Funny comparison. I mean, I was going to bring up having now seen your Metroid 2 gameplay after last week. I did, and many of our viewers watched some of this as well. I did watch your first, I don't know how long it was before you of not knowing how to progress before you figured out you could shoot down.
Yes, that I did take quite some time to figure out that I could shoot down, where I was like, I remember these in the original Metroid. You bombed them. I don't have those. What do I do?
If ever there was just like an encapsulation of your, as you say, and maybe you'll probably regret ever saying this because I'll use it against you for the rest of your life of not thinking outside the box, is watching you just stand on these things. And I'm just looking at like, what the fuck is he doing? He's like,
I wasn't
shooting
able
left,
to
shooting
shoot down
right.
last time.
But first of all, I sent you the manual. I'm sure the controls.
It probably says you can do it, but you also like need to like jump and then shoot down. Like I think I was at some point like trying to press down to shoot down, and I was like, that doesn't do anything. I just like crouch.
It was really killing me. I mean,
sure.
that's why no one should be surprised he can't beat this game in an evening. Like because that's by the time you have figured out how to get through that, I'm like 3 Metroids deep
Yeah.
in my playthrough. It's like, what the fuck is this man doing? And there are a few other things, by the way, in that playthrough. You know, you were talking about this spider ball. Oh, by the way, first of all, I actually put a note about this in the video, but there was this section where you were saying, oh, you didn't know if it was possible to bomb jump through.
Oh, yeah.
And then you figured it just wasn't. And I was saying, yeah, it probably isn't. I didn't realize what section you were talking about. I actually did bomb jump through that part when I did it.
Okay.
So it is possible. But then I still hit a wall where I had to go back and get the spider ball. So I think they do want you to get the spider ball first, probably. But I was just stubborn because I didn't realize the other secret path, and I did do that. But just so you know, it wasn't like it was annoying. It took me a long time to do it.
Yeah, because I was doing that and I was like, I feel so certain that somebody could do this. I just don't know if it's supposed to be like easy and I suck, or if it's something that somebody could do, but like you're not really supposed to. I wasn't sure.
I think in that particular section, it seems more complicated than it is. I think when I finally did it, I basically just like sat there and just spammed the bomb button and it just worked. Even though after trying for 20 minutes to do some intricate pattern and jumping from this section in here, like I was like, no, I just kind of just mash it and it worked. But I also, when you were using the spider ball, it seemed that you didn't quite grasp some of its intricacies.
I will say, I don't know how to get out of the spider ball.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I could not figure that out.
You press A. If you press A, it deactivates the spider ball.
I didn't figure that out.
Yeah, I know.
I pressed B to set a bomb instead, which would knock you out. Yeah.
Yes, I noticed that, and it was very annoying to me because it's much more cumbersome to do that. You literally have 2 buttons, Will. There's 2. You never just tried the other one?
Listen, I need a lot of help.
It's like a centimeter away. Just press the other one. And also by the same token, it seemed to me that I wasn't sure if you understood or realized that when you're in spider ball form, your morph ball does change color.
Yeah, I did figure that out, but I did not realize that at first. There was a period of time where I could not tell whether I was in it or not, but I did figure out that it changed, yeah.
I thought that might have been part of the problem.
At first it was.
All right, so anyway. No, folks, this is
you're
just
giving
what
me
he's
too
really
much
like.
credit is really the problem that you're having with me. I mean, listen, as I said, I could be putting, but it is also one of those things where, like, these things that frustrate you, they do kind of frustrate me too, even if I'm the one who's not able to do them. So, like, sometimes it's just like, yeah, I get started early and I'm loving it and it's going great and I get a nice link to the past. And other times I'm kind of burnt out from the last week, so I start late and then I immediately am like, I don't know how to play this. I don't know how to use controls. Help. Oh no. And so then I don't get that much time in, but then I'm burnt out for the next week too because I spent my whole time not knowing what to do. It just depends, I won't pretend I'm the most responsible person on the planet.
Thoughts and prayers to this guy. He needs all the help he can get.
There's a reason I wasn't a gamer before this. There's a reason I have to be strong-armed into it.
Yeah. I mean, this is now I get to be smug now after I spent an episode talking about how stupid I am. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, don't we? And I mean, it also comes from I've spent a lifetime playing platformers and action games, and I haven't spent a lifetime playing strategy games. So there are certain things muscles you develop. I think some of them you should have developed by now. But some of us are slower than others. All right. That's it this week. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought I would do a song this week. Like
oh wow.
I had planned it in advance. I was like, oh, I'll do a Civilization song for sure. I was like, I know I'm going to do something. That's a big game. I'll do one for that. Tried, looked at songs, tried to come up with lyrics, Just didn't have it in me. Just didn't have an angle. Just didn't do it. Gave up. It defeated me. It defeated me on every level, this game. And sometimes that's just what
It
happens.
defeated you on every level. You gave it a 6.2?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. That's nice of you.
That
Very
6.2 is for the first half of the game of any given session.
Mhm.
You know, and for like respect for the genre, and also again kind of blaming myself. Like I understand
Mhm.
most of my issues were my own shortcomings and my own lack of, like, I think if I did put more effort and did learn some of these ins and outs, I'd have a better time. I think like it's on me a little bit. That's why it's a little higher. Anyway, this week on the Patreon, we are discussing the Jackass series. Primarily the film franchise, Jackass. Head over there for $5 a month, patreon.com/badwithgames. You'll also get access to our Discord, which is a lot of fun. And, you can rate us on iTunes or wherever you get podcasts. That's also nice if you don't want to pay us money, but you should. Follow us wherever you want. It's all in the description, so go check that out. YouTube, what have you.
Mhm. Come watch me on twitch.tv/badwithgames podcast. Bad with Games podcast? Is that what our
Yep,
channel name is?
Yep.
Yeah, where every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, I am streaming my Mario boot camp. We're making good progress. I'm very pleased with where I am. I could use more viewers. We should be saying this up at the front. You should be saying this up at the front. I think this is a failure on your part.
You're right. You want me to edit it in?
Nah.
All right. Yeah, he's doing great over there, folks. He's really making a lot of progress. You don't want to miss the stream where he beats Mario 1.
Yeah, no, that'll be crazy. You want that on in the background just in case it happens, because you never know when it might happen.
But can we shut the fuck up about Mario for a little while? Because next week on the show, I'm here to announce we will be playing Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah.
Mario's arch rival, the Blue Blur, is back for another go-round on the Sega Genesis.
Fuck you, Mario.
Italian piece of shit.
That's Sonic's catchphrase, I think.
Which one?
Both.
Okay. Let us know in the comments what you thought about this week's game, or email us badwithgamespodcast@gmail.com with any thoughts or feelings you have about the world of video games at large. We appreciate your viewership and listenership. Have a great week. Gamers out!
Gamers out.